Today, we are getting smart with our pinup art. Everybody stick around because we're going to talk about discipline. You ready? You ready? Let's do this. First, before we get started, do you know about Patreon? It's a great way to influence and directly fund the art and content that you love. Please check out my Patreon and support me there. All right, guys, how's it going? How have you been? I'm kind of doing this radio announcer voice thing. What do you think? Should I keep it? Should I drop it? Should I just get, I don't know, quiet and solemn? They're really goofy. I don't know. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's get on topic here. Let's talk about discipline. Okay, so early this month, I got a commission request, as I do. Somebody was looking for a nice little drawing, sort of a pinup thing of his wife, and he wanted me to include their mutual love of their little puppy dog, who I guess was just kind of a ball of energy, and his wife was always kind of trying to discipline it. And hey, discipline, it's a magic word of the day. And then I guess they also had a huge love of hot rods, and so yep, that's the subject matter. And so what I wanted to do was kind of do sort of a cute pinup thing, very heavily inspired by Dean Yeagle, clearly. Somebody already called me out on, hey, is that Mandy and Scoots? I was like, no, but I mean, come on. I totally influenced, I'm not going to lie. You got to, seriously, you have to pull from the people that inspire you. It's okay. Just make sure you give them credit. So this isn't a tracing or anything. Obviously, I do my own artwork. I don't believe in tracing or Frankensteining other people's artwork. But influence it's A-okay, guys. At least it is in my book. So that was the approach. One thing I wanted to talk about real quick is before I even started this, I wasn't super sure about posing and I guess the not framing, what's the word? Composition, the makeup of the stage and where all of our players are going to be sitting and perspective and things like that. So I actually started in my sketchbook. And by that, I mean, I tried out a couple of different poses. I knew that I wanted to have her sitting on the ground. I knew I wanted her to be playing with the dog. I didn't really know what her pose was going to look like, and I didn't really know what kind of energy I wanted to have coming from the dog. So I didn't go right into drawing the final piece. It's important that you take time, especially with especially with ideas that you're a little bit shaky on, to just go ahead, jump into your sketchbook, doodle out some very quick thumbnails, try a couple of things out. You know, it's drawing at the end of the day, so you get it may feel like a little extra work, but whether you believe it or not, you are actually getting better. So that's what I did. I jumped into my sketchbook, sketched out this cute little pose where she's kind of sitting on her side, which is a pose I don't generally do. If you're following along with most of the stuff that I'm creating, it is, just kind of a standing pinup pose or something that's kind of more like cute and energetic and sort of like on the sexier side. This is very much kind of a more playful, innocent kind of a thing. And it was a fun little challenge for me to experience and experiment with a new idea. So yeah, same thing with the dog. I actually, I think I felt a little bit more comfortable with just kind of plotting out a very easy but compressed sort of like this little puppy dog. He's excited about the car that's coming at him, and he's just kind of ready to pounce at it. So it was kind of all about directing that energy. You can kind of see on the pose there that he's sort of made up of like this kind of a triangle where everything's sort of compressed down onto his upper body, and he's got his butt up in the air and his tail is kind of wagging. So yeah, that was the That was the impetus, I guess. Is that the right word? That was the inspiration? Maybe that feels better. I need to get better at vocabulary. I was a rock star at vocabulary in high school, and I don't know what happened. That's another story, guys. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about discipline. One of the things that I strongly believe in, and maybe we can talk more about this in another video, but one of the things I strongly believe in is don't fall prey to the traps of, say you're heavily influenced by, say you're heavily influenced by Jim Lee. Jim Lee, you guys know, most of you know, I would assume that he's an outstanding comic book artist. He's drawn Spider-Man and Batman most recently, I believe. And he's just hugely influential in the comic book industry. And so you want to draw like Jim Lee. And I think it's important that you hang on to that influence. It's okay to model your work after him at some point if you want to. But if you're starting out, I'd highly recommend what I do is just take notice of the things that inspire you, kind of keep a log of it, journal it, whatever you need to do to kind of keep that fresh in your mind. But don't be afraid to get outside of that. Find what inspires Jim Lee. Find what inspires other people. Find what maybe you have no direct immediate influence by, but see how other people work and try to decide. Try to find some other means to express your artwork and use that as fuel to augment what you already love. So, for example, you see right here, I'm doing some trees. Okay, I don't like drawing trees. I find trees to be. I live in the Northwest. I don't see trees all the time. I don't really find them to be all that inspiring. But when I see someone illustrate a really good tree, I'm like, damn, that's a really cool looking tree. How did you do that? So one of the things that I did was like, I heard about this this tool in Photoshop called the mixer brush. I heard that from Aaron Blaise. He's a really awesome Disney animator, and he does this great channel on YouTube. I'll put a link up for him, and I highly recommend checking out his stuff. But he does this great tutorial on how to use the art brush, and he speaks directly to making awesome looking trees using this tool. And trees aren't a pinup thing. There's really no direct immediate need to be like, hey, I'm gonna draw pinup. I need to have trees. It's just not super necessary. It's a nice to have. And in this case, I wanted to have a nice sort of ambient scene outside this window, and I was like, trees would be great here. This is a great opportunity to try and use this mixer brush kind of tool. And what, actually, I'll go ahead and link that, the video that he has up on his channel, to his tutorial on the mixer brush. All that to say, it's important to look outside of your immediate wheelhouse and try and draw from everywhere. Look at the guys that inspire you. Look at the guys that you want to be, the guys that you want to be like, guys or girls. I don't want to cut anybody out here. I'm just saying guys is a general thing. But draw from everybody. Find little pieces that work for you and pull it into your work. And don't be afraid to quote unquote steal. The best artists out there will do that. I'm not saying that I'm the best artist, but it's something that I know a lot of the greats subscribe to. I mean, you can't claim to be a musician and not be on some level inspired by Beethoven, even though it was like, you know, hundreds of years ago. You gotta pull from these guys, because I mean, they're the pioneers, and you're building off the backs of their hard work. So it's important that you take what they've already learned and just see what you can do with it. Try and make it better. Try and put your own spin on it. Be unique with it. There's really no sense in trying to reinvent the wheel, unless of course you're just trying to be an expressionist, you know. And then at that point, it might kind of seem a bit derivative. So be careful with that one. But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about character art. We're talking about pinup art here. This was kind of a fun spot. I don't know why I decided to put a telephone pole. Pinup pole? Yeah, now I think we've kind of gotten into the stream of consciousness part of the video. So anyway, thanks guys for checking out my video. I wish that I had more time to put these up sooner, faster, stronger. We have the technology, but we don't have the time, and that's hard. If you want to help ensure that I am able to put more videos out like this, please go to my Patreon and support me there. It's a great way to influence and make sure I can keep this stuff going. Yeah, I've got a little picture back there. I thought that was nice. This kind of feels like, I don't know, it feels like Iron Giant or something. Very animated look. Cool. And there we are, the final piece. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe next time we'll do sort of an Ask Me Anything. I'll put up, if you have any questions, if you have anything you want me to speak to, please go ahead and drop them in the comments below or contact me directly. You can also find me at DerekRStewart.com. That is DerekRStewart.com. And I'll also have a link to my Patreon if you do want to support me there. Thanks again, guys. I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.